the cannabis operation of the Department of Cannabis Control and Lancaster Police Department. Again, I just want to remind everybody that is a part of media, you cannot photograph or take video of anybody that is not speaking behind this podium today. Again, please do not photograph or take videos of anyone that is not speaking behind this podium today. Today you will get briefings from 3 individuals, starting with Commander Wilson Linares, Police Chief Roderick Armelin, and our keynote speaker, RX Paris. Once we wrap those briefings, there will be time, about 5 to 10 minutes for Q&A. After that, there will be an opportunity for you to have private one-on-one interviews, so please do not push forward in the Q&A when we ask for it to be completed. Now it is time for us to jump into operation briefings. We will start with our Commander Wilson Linares.
Hi, good afternoon, everyone. As you can see from the trailer behind us, we have a lot of illegal cannabis that was seized earlier today from 2 operations. We started one this morning and one that we're wrapping up this afternoon. And as you can see, an operation like this takes a lot of work from a lot of different entities that help us make this operation successful, and I'd like to just go down the list and thank those individuals. First is the California Department of Tax and Fee Administration, Lancaster Police Department, Los Angeles County Fire Hazmat, Counter Drug Task Force, in Southern California Edison. So we served 2 search warrants today. Both were illegal indoor residential grows, just like you see behind me. Today's operation resulted in a significant amount of cannabis that would have entered the illegal market. And the ones who benefit from these type of operations are obviously, at times, organized crimes or individuals that just do not want to go with the process of legalizing their cannabis. Indoor cultivators like this not only pose a safety issue to themselves, but also the public. As you can see, the house behind me, it's surrounded by a very nice neighborhood, and unsuspected individuals don't realize the products that are in here and what kind of chemicals they're using to actually grow the indoor cannabis. So if you wish, I can show you pictures of inside of the location, but the house is completely destroyed. Both homes that we were at earlier, there was large amounts of mold in the previous house that we were in. That's why if you were to see photos of that location, you see a lot of our officers and detectives are donning hazmat type attire to protect themselves. It's very toxic, the molds that are inside. The walls are deteriorating, the paint's peeling off, and that's just from chemicals being used. It's not that they're using any solvents on the walls. It's just from the plants when they emit some of that stuff off when they douse them with the chemicals. Again, we don't know what type of chemicals they are, but we know that they're banned. And again, not only do they use those chemicals, but the reason why we have Southern California Edison with us is they also ramp up the usage of power, which at times can cause electrical fires, again posing hazards to the neighbors. And again, for the Department of Cannabis Control, for us, our enforcement, we do support the legalization of cannabis, and we do that by also going after illegal growers just like this. The department does not in any way ever permit, license any indoor cultivations. It is highly regulated, and that's for protection of the consumers and the public. And DCC will continue to work with its local partners, county, state, and federal, to continue to go after the illegal market. And I have nothing but great things to say about the city of Lancaster. They've been wonderful to us. Speaking to the chief earlier today and the mayor, they've been very hospitable towards us, and the doors are open for us to come back, and we can continue to help out in whatever capacity the state can. And with that, thank you.
Thank you, Commander. And now we will have our keynote speaker, our mayor, RX Paris.
Good afternoon. First of all, I want to thank the California Cannabis Control officers. They walk into these houses, well, they don't walk in, they go in, with bulletproof vests and automatic weapons because they never know what they're going to meet. But they also know they're going to meet this. They're going to meet mold, toxic incredibly toxic mold that can get in your lung and 15 years later kill you. I mean, it's extremely toxic. The amount of courage these guys have going into those houses is phenomenal, and our hats are off to you. We need you, we appreciate you. I believe that it's my job to create an environment where people can thrive by not hurting other people. It's real simple. I don't care what people do as long as they don't hurt anybody else. I don't have any problems with cannabis that's legal. The reason for that is because it's tested. I know that people aren't ingesting stuff that will kill them down the road. The illegal grows, there's no regulation whatsoever. There's no way of knowing what people are ingesting. And unfortunately, this is a cheaper version of the drug. It's cheaper than if you go into the store and buy it. And so as a result, you can pretty well be sure it's toxic. And who's buying it? Our youngest people, because they have the least money, right? It makes sense. This is what's being sold at the high schools. I understand people's desire to get into this because it seems like it's okay now. It seems, well, if it's legal, what does it matter? There's a vast difference between legal grows and this grow. I mean, it is vast. This is incredibly dangerous. The chief will tell you a little bit more about that. And the message I'd like to give to the other grow houses is we know where you are, and we are coming for you. Stop. Get out of town. The last thing you got to remember, this house will go back on the market. When they leave here, they'll paint the walls so nobody will see the mold. People will raise their children in that bedroom, and every single day and night he will be breathing spores of that mold. It is not a victimless crime. The victims are just invisible, and that makes it much harder to treat. Thank you.
Thank you, Mayor. Before we go into our last briefing with Police Chief Roderick Armelin, I just want to remind you all that we will have 5 to 10 minutes of Q&A. So please have your questions ready before we step into that. Now welcoming up Police Chief Roderick Armelin.
Good afternoon. First, I'd like to thank our partners from the Department of California Cannabis Control. These are professionals. They are excellent at their job, and they support us 100%. And we want to thank them for coming to Lancaster and helping us deal with this problem, which appears to be growing. I am absolutely in agreement with the mayor, and I want those that decide they want to come and do this crime inside our city to know that we are going to find you and we are going to deal with you. I want to give you a few things about what happens with these homes. The house is entirely devoted to cannabis activities, and the interior doesn't even resemble a home in most cases. The houses can often contain up to 1,000 plants or more. A little unknown fact is that at times these grows can involve human trafficking, as they'll bring individuals into the house and force them to work. Unlicensed cannabis undermines the licensed marketplace and evades consumer protections that protect the consumers, ensuring that these plants are properly grown. Illegally modified houses severely increase the threat of fire. In fact, there's been studies that have shown that these homes are up to 25 times more likely to catch fire than a normal home. High humidity and corrosive agricultural chemicals corrode electric wiring, and at times it could be inside walls where the unknown person who purchases a home when they're done doesn't realize they've got poor wiring inside their home. These homes are structurally unsound, and they they're usually contaminated with extensive toxic mold, as the mayor mentioned, but also the fact that they use pesticides and fertilizers inside these homes bring great risks to families who come and live in these once they are sold. And I absolutely just want to stress the point that illicit cannabis is uninspected, untested, and more likely to contain high levels of heavy metals, dangerous pesticide, and toxic mold. Homes are for people living in them. They're not for agricultural growth or growing uh, illegal cannabis inside. Thank you very much. And at this time, I think we'll go to questions.
If I can please have the commander, mayor, and chief come up to the podium so that we can go through questions a little bit quicker, please. If you have a question, could you please raise your hand and immediately direct who your question is towards? I will point to you. Once I point to you, please make it very clear who your question is towards and speak loudly. If we need you to repeat it, I will ask you to repeat. We will be able to give a response and move forward to the next question. Go ahead.
Well, for being in Lancaster, we started this relationship a while ago, so it's can't really say that the length of time that we've established our relationship with them really would state how long this investigation took. But if I was to take this investigation by itself, without the relationship that we build, we're looking at about a month to 2 months, tops.
For commander.
That still has to get weighted out, and we'll get that information out to everybody as soon as we have the final figures.
You know, I find that if I just hear the reports, it's much different when you actually see it. You know, we closed down an unlicensed care home, you know, where the living conditions were, I didn't believe people could live like that, let alone be taking care of older people like that. I really didn't understand the entire danger that it presents to not only the people using it, the people that come later and buy the house, the people that have to go in and police it. You know, it's incredibly dangerous. But you don't really get that, you know, when you read it or you see it on a video. But when you go in and you watch what they do when they go in, it's a whole different understanding, and therefore I prioritize city resources differently. Good. I'm sorry? That decision is being made now. The one this morning, it absolutely is going to be seized. I want to bulldoze it, and city staff is telling me, no, we just have to make them rebuild it. So we'll continue to have that discussion.
So when you say rebuild, what is the process like that take? Length of time to rebuild the house?
You got to pull all the wiring, you got to pull all the drywall, you got to pull the flooring, and then you got to replace it. And then you got to test it. You got to make certain the mold's gone, the chemicals are gone. It's about a $80,000 to $100,000 procedure at this point. I would like the visual of saying, we'll take the whole house if you keep this up, but that's me. What can I say?
Any other questions? Go ahead.
Your involvement, or the Lancaster Police Department involvement in this today. Obviously, you're here. How do you see the future of the Lancaster Police Department and their involvement in fighting the war on drugs?
So we're going to continue to partner with great agencies like the Department of Cannabis Control. And as we grow and develop our officers, we're going to take on more responsibility of doing some of the enforcement and identifying the problem. I also want to add that we have, the city already has very skilled investigators in our code enforcement department that do some of this work prior to, and have developed great relationships with the Department of Cannabis Control. So that will continue. And you know, for us, if it's a crime or quality of life issue within our city, we're going to deal with it and try and make that problem go away. And at the same time, convince others that we're not the city you should try and do that in.
And if the residents of the city of Lancaster are watching this and they have a tip or they see something going on that's suspicious,
They can absolutely call they can call the city of Lancaster and just ask for the Lancaster Police Department, and they'll be connected to my office. And we're accepting all tips. They can also go online and put a tip in through line. There's also 1-800-WE-TIP, I believe it is, where they can go in and make anonymous reports as well. So in the near future, we're going to be putting something out to the community through our social media, through our channel L28, on what residents should look for and understand may be signs that they have a cannabis illegal grow in their neighborhood. But if they even believe they have one, please give us a call. We have skilled investigators that will take a look right away.
Last question for me, I promise this maybe for the commander, I'm not sure, but are there any enhanced charges because of proximity to a school?
Not necessarily. The charges are going to stand regardless if it's next to a school, but obviously that is something that we do include in our investigation, and we do make sure that it's reported. But there's not an enhanced charging for the school aspect. There's enough charges already that we do put on these cases, so those to this day still stand pretty well. And I would say to our partners in code enforcement, they're the ones that are really the heavy hitters when it comes to charges and what they can do to these homes. We get them in, and they can. The fact that what the mayor mentioned and the chief mentioned that they can actually take control of these homes, that's a lot more beneficial for the community and immediate than for what we can do. Ours takes a little bit longer, but they're immediate that they can actually leave this place today if they decide to red tag this building like they did the other residents early on. That's an immediate action, and we'll follow up with our investigation and our charges.
Thank you everyone for coming today. You will have time to do one-on-one interviews after this. Before we jump into those one-on-one interviews, I just want to simply remind you one last time, please do not film or photograph any faces that did not speak behind this podium today. Have a good day.